This is the Dealer Playbook, episode 53.
No, dude.
And
dude, 51.
What?
Episode 51, yo.
51?
51!
Oh, I thought we were on episode 51. Let's go.
You're dialed in to the Dealer Playbook podcast, where it's all about winning auto dealer strategies that deliver proven results. And now your hosts, Robert Weissman and Michael Cirillo.
All right, and we are here in session 51 of the Dealer Playbook podcast, where every single week we're sitting down with the who's who in and out of the automotive industry to share actionable insights with you, today's automotive professionals. My name is Michael Cirillo, and I am joined today by my man, my partner in crime, Mr. Robert Weissman. What's going on, dude?
Hey, man. What's up?
You know what? Loving doing this. We're trying something new. I got people watching in on Periscope right now, just getting the behind the scenes. And you know what? I love what's going on. We're getting so much love on Twitter. I just wanted to shout out a few people, that are listening in who have given us some pretty crazy feedback on the Twitter. We got at Michael Rita Otto. Michael Rita, man, sent us a cool shout out the other day. He said, at Michael A. Cirillo, your show motivated me to go above and beyond the typical salesman. Thank you for your wisdom. I love the Dealer Playbook. Dude, we love you. We appreciate you listening in. Here's a couple other people. We got Keena Moore and Asif Premji, man. These people have been shouting us out a lot on Twitter. So make sure you're following us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you at Dealer Playbook. And if you're going to tweet something that is going on with the show, hashtag DPB. That's where we'll catch you. We'd love to get your feedback, hear your success stories, hear your favorite episodes and the things that really stand out to you. So follow us there at Dealer Playbook and hashtag DPB. So today we're going to do a solo show. There's a couple of cool topics that we're vibing on, and we want to reference, some of the past guests that we've had on the show that have dropped some freaking power bombs. And, as Robert and I sat down and tried to identify what we wanted to talk about in this solo show, there were some really cool concepts that stood out to us that we want to share with you, today's automotive professionals. So, Robert, you ready to dive into this?
Yeah, man, I'm ready. And I just want to, before we dive in, I just want to give a shout out to the three people tuning in on Periscope.
Absolutely. Hey, it's more than that, dude. We're rolling.
I know. I'm just kidding. I thought of that one.
Yeah, and you know what? For those of you listening in, I'd love more followers on Periscope. It's such a cool new medium that nobody's quite figured out yet, including myself, and it's fun to just get in there in Periscope. You can find me there at Michael A. Cirillo and on Twitter at Michael A. Cirillo, and then, of course, Robert Weissman at Robert Weissman. Love for you guys to follow us there. Show us some love. We'll show you some love back. So let's dive into this. We've had some pretty freaking incredible guests over the past 50 episodes of the show. And, we talk about, we don't keep any secrets that we learn so much from these guests. And the thing that's really stood out to me lately is just the validation behind what some of them have said. When it comes to your online presence and wanting to, rise above the clutter and dominate the web, so to speak, I feel like still online is this topic that has so much mystery surrounding it. And I try to identify what all of the reasons are that there's so much mystery surrounding the web. And really, there's a few things that come to my mind. And I think the first one, and just to get the conversation going, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like, you go to these conferences, you listen to the webinars, heck, you might even be listening to the Dealer Playbook podcast, and there's people who have varying opinions and stances on various topics. And when people listen to that, they don't quite, know how to put all of that information together so that it's cohesive and so that it makes sense for them. And the result is that you have a lot of he said, she said, they said, I'm doing it the right way. No, I'm doing it the right way. And there's always these big arguments that arise. Everyone's trying to validate their opinion on how things should be done. What do you think? Is that accurate, or am I totally in left field?
No, man, you're always in left field, but you're right when it comes to this, though. I mean,
how do you solve that? And that's what we want to talk about today. There's some cool things that I want to reference, some cool power bombs I want to reference from the past couple episodes of the show. For example, episode 49 with Marcus Sheridan, the sales lion. He had some pretty cool, content marketing ideas that dealerships can start implementing today. One of them was that dealerships need to be the Wikipedia for what they do. And, that's really cool information, because when you consider how much information is out there, Auto Trader produces information, Edmunds produces information, Cars.com produces information. His argument, and I agree with it, is that why would you give your ability to educate people to third parties who then distribute your potential clients to other dealerships, right? And so he talked about how you need to focus on becoming the Wikipedia for what you do. Now, traditionally speaking, I think dealerships, when they hear that, they might be thinking, well, okay, so I need to get information about all of the vehicles that I have on the lot. I need to be getting walk around videos. I need to be doing testimonial videos. I need to be doing all those sorts of things. But
which they do need to be doing.
Which they do need to be doing,
Yes.
Absolutely. But if you then jump to episode 50, our most recent episode of the Dealer Playbook featuring Jay Baer, who, by the way, Marcus Sheridan and Jay Baer are good friends. In fact, if you notice, if you've read the book Youtility by Jay Baer, you'll see that Marcus actually wrote the foreword for it. But you hear a slightly different opinion. Jay Baer's opinion was that
You're not going to out Cars.com.
Exactly.
Cars.com.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you're not going to out Cars.com, and you're not going to out Edmunds and all of these. But they've got so many years worth of information that they've been providing. You're not going to oust these other third parties by simply just focusing on becoming the Wikipedia for what you do. So his suggestion. And he openly admitted on the show that this would be kind of freaky for most dealerships to jump in on. He brought up the fact that instead of just talking about the vehicles that you have, and instead of talking about the different services that you have, that you want to actually focus your content marketing strategy around topics that people are interested in today. I think the statistics, do you remember what it was? I think he said something like 95% of people are out of market for longer periods of time, and then 5% are in market?
Yeah. Something along those lines. And you're right, because this, they're only going to see the stuff about your cars. That's a certain level of funnel buyer, person that's, in market for sure.
Yeah, people are out of the market. People aren't looking for cars every single day, especially people that have just purchased a vehicle. They're not necessarily in the market to buy another vehicle today, or maybe even for the next 2 or 3 years.
But every day they're in the market for good information.
Absolutely. So with that, what Jay Baer suggested is that you get a blog on your website, and he threw out a really crazy one. It was to add the Little League scores to your website and send them out in a weekly newsletter or a monthly newsletter. The other one that I thought was genius was blog about road trips and the things to do along the way. So why is that genius? I think because that's information that people are searching out anyway, and it's about topics that they're interested in. And his argument was that when the 95% eventually become the 5%, they're not going to shop around to look for who they should be purchasing a vehicle from, because you've built a relationship with them.
You've serviced them already with the information. So
yeah, exactly. So there's going to be a level of loyalty and trust with you. They're just going to come straight into you and purchase. So that was his argument. Now, you have these two content juggernauts, okay? These content kings who have slightly opposing views. But the question is, do they really? Okay, Marcus is saying become the Wikipedia for what you do. Jay Baer is saying don't be the Wikipedia for what you do. Be the Wikipedia for things that the regular Joe is looking for every single day of the week, so that when they're in the market to purchase a vehicle, they'll be loyal to you. So how do you bridge the gap? Because I think, most of the time in the industry, we hear those opposing views, not realizing that there is a way to marry them together so that they work well. So I think that's a good place for us to kind of to jump into. Okay. We want to talk about a strategy that I use that, a load of successful, highly successful online marketers use to help them identify how they can kind of bridge the gap between becoming the Wikipedia for what they do and building authority that way, and then addressing topics that people are interested in majority of the time and also becoming an authority that way. So I'm going to just give kind of a quick overview, step-by-step kind of action plan that those of you listening in can implement so that you have a solid content marketing strategy that will help you dominate your market, build authority and expertise, and make sure that you're attracting high-quality automotive shoppers or automotive buyers, okay? Now, the caution with this is that you may not see an increase in traffic to your website. Okay, let me repeat that. You may not actually see an increase in traffic to your website, but what you will see happen is leveraging existing website traffic, and you'll likely notice an increase in leads. We've seen this all the time. We've got some really cool case studies with some dealerships that we work with where website traffic actually decreased and their leads increased by 30 or 40% during that time period. It's phenomenal stuff, but that's what you really need to be focused on with this. You shouldn't keep your eye on increasing site traffic if you don't already know how to leverage existing website traffic, and that's what this is going to help you do. So let's just dive into this strategy. It's going to help you guys out. It's really actionable. It's really simple. Okay. The first thing that you want to do in order to kind of marry the concept of becoming the Wikipedia of what you do and providing content that people are interested in every day of the week is a really cool tool. Google provides it. It's absolutely free. It's called Google Trends. We'll link you up in the show notes so you get direct access to that. So make sure you check them out at thedealerplaybook.com/51. And what you can do in this tool is actually just enter in a search term. So say you're a Ford dealer, you could just type in Ford and click search, and then refine your search by the region that you live in so that you're getting more accurate data. You don't really necessarily want the national data. I mean, it's not going to hurt you, but let's start with just finding out what the trends are in your area at this given time period. The cool thing about Google Trends is once you kind of drill in that deep, you're going to get a good overview of how the topic of Ford is trending over an extended period of time. You can look at it from the past month, the past few weeks, the past year, the past, quarter, whatever. And once you've identified a topic like Ford, what you do is you go to a keyword tool. And I'm really digging on one right now. It's keywordtool.io. And again, we'll link you up in the show notes to that. And what it does is it plays off of Google's auto suggest feature. When you do a Google search and you type something in and you just start seeing the auto suggestions. Well, Google is auto suggesting that data to you from this massive database that they have because let's face it, they track every search that's ever happened since the dawn of the internet, essentially. And they use that data. They present that data back to you so that you can see some of the hot searches that have happened most frequently. So keywordtool.io is really powerful because it uses that database or that auto suggest feature that Google has, and you can then cross-reference the topic that you've seen trending from Google Trends into this keyword tool to help you get insights into whether or not that's really a hot topic or not. Now, the cool thing about that is once you have that validation, you can then start to chart out a content strategy surrounding that topic. Now, remember earlier when I said that you don't want to necessarily just primarily be focused on year, make, model content I mean, you do want to have that, but it shouldn't be your primary focus because, and Robert, you know, we know this very well, and you know this very well. There's so many other things that you could be talking about at the dealership level, like, you know, the frequently asked questions.
Mm-hmm. There are wealths of content opportunities floating around dealerships.
Yeah, exactly. So you could take your frequently asked questions. You know, what would an example of a frequently asked question that you heard a lot when you were working the front line?
Well, you can do them in sales or even in service too. But I mean, you can have people that are like just particular, what's the gas mileage on X vehicle? That's something that gets searched all the time. Things like how to change the headlight.
Okay, so you could actually you could take that, put that into Google Trends, see if that's a hot topic in your area over an extended period of time, and then go over to the keyword tool. You know, again, keywordtool.io, or you can use Google's free keyword planner. It's not as accurate, but, you know, a lot of top SEO experts still, still use that tool, and I still use it. And you can take that frequently asked question topic, put it into trends, find out if it's trending over a period of time in your marketplace, if it's a hot topic, cross-reference that to a keyword tool, and that's going to validate for you whether or not that is something that you should be creating content on. So in so doing, you're finding out what you should become the Wikipedia for, for the things that you do, but you're also finding out straight away what people in your market are interested in so that you can give them that information, and so doing it this way, you're really bridging that gap between what Marcus is talking about and what Jay Baer is talking about.
And it's much easier to get eyeballs on something that people are interested in,
Well, and that's just it. We talk about this all the time. Dealers go, what should I be talking about? I'm sitting on top of this $50 million a year business that has 86 employees and several different departments with product services, and cool offers and cool things that people want to see. What should I talk about? And I say just that. How about you talk to your customers or your potential customers about the things they are interested in? And then the follow-up question is always, well, what are they interested in? Well, again, this is what you can do to find out what people are interested in. That's the thing I love about doing business on the internet. There's so many people out there going, stupid internet, man, it ruins such a good way of doing business. All I had to do back in the day was splash some pictures of vehicles on a page in the newspaper. All I had to do was blow up the freaking big gorilla and blow up some balloons.
Yeah, I don't understand how business was even done pre-internet, like in any business.
It was done with facsimile. It's like, and that's just it. It's not stupid internet. And I know a lot of people still feel that way. They're going, man, the internet's so stupid, right? But it's like, everything about doing business online can be tracked, measured, and analyzed. Never before in the history of our planet have we had such abundant access to data. One of those data points being that we can find out much faster and with much more clarity what people are actually interested in learning about. And so what do you speak to people about? You speak to them about the topics that they're interested in. I mean, have you ever been in a conversation with someone where you're trying to hold over this conversation with someone and you have zero interest in what they're talking about?
You talking to me on a regular basis? Yes. Yeah.
on a minute by minute basis,
on a more than once a day.
Every
probably.
Time I talk to Michael.
No,
and so anyways, the thing is that, you want to speak to people about the topics they're interested in and get that information on your site. And don't be afraid, okay? Don't be afraid if it's not the standard year, make, model, comparison info. Dive in, start seeing what happens if you do find out that tons of people in your market are taking the drive from, well, Robert, let me ask you, in your part of the country, what is like a typical routine drive that people would make, on a frequent basis? Like, are they commuting from where you're located to another city frequently?
Like 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, 30 minutes to an hour. Well, I know, okay, what I would find valuable, that's the same for me, right? If I want to get into the car and do like a Costco run or something, I'm driving 30 minutes. And I have 3 kids, and guaranteed, anybody who has small children knows this, guaranteed the minute you get in the car and far enough away from your house, one of them is going to go, I'm about to pee my pants, right? Dad, I got to go to the bathroom. It's like, dude, I told you. I asked you if you had to go, and you're like, oh, I didn't have to go 37 seconds ago.
Yeah, and it's not a preview like, yeah, Dad, I think I got to go. They're at like DEFCON 5.
Yeah, it's like, dude, they're scrambling the jets, and they're like doing the dance in their car seat. And so as a parent, knowing that I make that drive frequently, imagine information that was like, hey, traveling from here to here, here's the places you can stop with your kids. And it's like, boom, here's a restaurant, here's a rest stop, boom, here's a place to get ice cream, here's a cool pizza shop. Those are things that people are looking for, because I'll tell you what, I've lived in this area for like 20 years, and I make that 30 to 45 minute drive regularly, but guaranteed, there's other things that come up, not just bathrooms, okay? It's more of a rural area, so there's not much between where I'm located and where I'm headed to. A couple of gas stations along the way, but guaranteed my kids are also going to be like, dude, Dad, we're starving, or whatever it is. And so if I can pull up on my mobile phone some quick information, all right, cool, there's a cool pizza parlor like 5 minutes from here or whatever.
Stop and get something light, a light snack.
Yeah, grab a light snack. Pizza. Yeah, the meat lovers pizza. That's valuable information. Yeah. And so you shouldn't be afraid to experiment with that.
As far as servicing them, it just builds a trust factor they won't forget, like the one with like the little league scores and stuff like that, bro. That's real smart, man. Like, because people are so involved in like their communities and with sports, and so are, auto dealership only seems like it should be there. It seems like real Friday night lights ish.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I think the general tone is, hey, Mr. Dealer, Mrs. Dealer, you need to be doing X, Y, and Z with your content marketing. And the general tone, I don't know about you, but my observation is you get the, ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. And another thing though is, Michael, what do you think though? Okay, so you gave the full, great, step by step on, the keyword research and stuff, which is obviously important.
Yeah.
But what about all of this if they really don't have somebody that, knows how to then execute that piece of content?
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
going to appeal. So, I mean, that
Great
has
point.
to be, strategy is one thing, but execution is going to be really key, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the first step here is acknowledging, no, I am not just a dealership. I am a business. And in most cases, I'm between a $20 million and $50 million a year business. And the reason I bring that up is because the first step is run it like it's a business. Don't you feel like sometimes, I own a business, and I want to be so involved in understanding the various aspects of how my business functions. That way I can hold people accountable. So I bring that up first because let's say you don't have somebody that can bite this off and chew it for you internally, and you need to hire an outside source to do it. If you at least understand what's involved in it as a business owner, and look, we're not just talking about dealer principles here. We're talking about you, the automotive sales professional, because we say this all the time. You are an automotivepreneur. You are a business owner. If you can get into that mindset, you'll be much more successful. But you are then empowered to hold those that you work with accountable, just like you would your employees. There's so much of this freaking us against them. We even experience this in full transparency. I experience this with some clients, and I say, dude, it doesn't work this way. Let's counsel with one another. right? Let's work with one another. And I fully expect you to hold me accountable because I expect you to also understand what's involved in the work that's being done. Now, there's some pros and cons here that I see. The first one is you can absolutely hire somebody in-house. In fact, we're seeing dealerships do this all the time. They're hiring an individual to oversee the marketing. That gives them what they feel is greater control, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. The hard part for me to swallow when it comes to doing everything internally is that you are essentially accepting the expense of building your own agency, and it's not enough to just have one person. Okay, it's like.
Well, and you need more than just a marketer, because a marketer doesn't
Absolutely.
mean you're great at writing copy and writing articles and that long form or short form pieces of content that are going to be interesting to people every day. It can't be a piece of crapola.
Perfect example of that is Mrs. LeBlue. Right? Tammy LeBlue, when she was working in her Nissan dealership, not only did she have to duplicate herself, but she hired a full-time graphic designer who rolled with her. Like when we go to the conferences and stuff, and we meet up with Tammy, she'd have her graphic artist. Like, dude, she employed a graphic designer. So you're not going to be good at everything. You might hire somebody that's good at, say, content, and maybe they got some SEO chops, okay? But what about funnel creation, email marketing, tripwire offers, creating offers, promotional offers, social media marketing? What about graphic design? What about all of the various aspects? So that's kind of the tough pill for me to swallow when it comes to hiring in-house. And then ready for this, what's to say that person won't jump ship when they get a better offer from some other dealership? Now you're freaking hooped. You've got somebody who's got access to everything, who's now jumped ship. You've got to try and figure out how to hire a new individual. And I've seen this, right? I've seen
shuts down.
Shop shuts down. You're screwed. So that's, I'm not saying all of this just to create a horror story for everybody, and that's horror story for everybody. But that's really kind of the fact of the matter. For the same price, okay, on the flip side, for essentially the same price that you would likely hire somebody to do all of that, do all of that work, plus the overtime, stat holidays, the headaches of babysitting somebody, all those sorts of things, you can get a team of 5 or 6 individuals who are specialized. Okay. I almost said experts, but I don't fully agree with the term expert, but people who are specialized for the same price that you would hire one person internally. You can hire an agency who has now people who specialize in social media, content marketing, graphic design, video creation, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, and it's to the point like this, to be realistic, to do this, I think like full head on steam. If you think hiring one person is going to be the solution, man, you might as well hire nobody for it, because there's no way one person can be I'm a designer. They do 327 different things. You know what I mean? I'm a designer. I'm also the writer. I'm the
let me guess
I
too.
answer the leads. I take photos. I because I'm the internet guy, I'm also, for some reason, you believe I know how to work on a computer. That was always the best.
Yeah, and then you see this person in action and they're freaking one finger on the keyboard typing. I mean, look, unless you've created some anomaly where your content marketer is like God himself, there's always going to be breakdowns in what you might have been sold on with, having an individual do it in-house versus what you might be able to get with an agency. Now, this leads me to one other thing, and I feel like I'm kind of ranting here, but I'm not. I'm just really passionate, okay? And Robert and I are really passionate about giving you information that you can take to the bank, okay? And this is a hot topic. We hear so much about this. So what this is leading to is, but I always have so many problems with my vendor. I always have so many problems with my agency. I never get the things that I want. Well, the reason for that is, okay, I'm just going to lay this on the line. If you hate me for saying this, hate me in the form of following me on Twitter at Michael A. Cirillo and let me know there, okay? But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, okay? The reason you hate your vendor and the reason your vendor doesn't seem to be, working for you, and the reason dealers are freaking switching their vendors like they change their underwear, okay, in some instances isn't as often as others, but that's a different show. The reason is because you've been conditioned to have that type of relationship with them, and they've been conditioned to have that type of relationship with you. But come on, guys, this is business, okay? Your objective is to not just have they're my vendor, they do everything I want. Rely on their expertise, man. They're specialists. I know this sounds weird because I'm, technically a quote unquote vendor, and I'm sitting here advocating for my competitors right now, but the nonsense has to stop. Look, if your vendor is just hiring a bunch of loons and they're just not capable of servicing you, that's a different story. But have you set the stage as the business owner? Okay, as the accountability partner, have you set the stage for a crappy relationship at the onset by treating them or them treating you like you're just another number, you're just another pile of revenue? Sit down together, counsel with one another, make plans together, and that effectively becomes your strategy. The reason that most vendors are quote unquote failing the dealers is because nobody has sat down together and identified clear goals and objectives. And no, it's not as easy as just saying, I want more leads. That's my goal. I want more traffic. That's my goal. Dude, what kind of traffic do you want?
Yeah.
What kind of leads do you want? Do you want new car leads? Do you want used car leads? Do you want parts leads? Do you want trade-in leads? Do you want test drive leads? Do you want freaking landing page leads? What do you want?
I got a 9-year-old that can drive traffic, brother. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing talented about driving traffic.
Exactly. So yeah. I'm not ranting here, and I'm not trying to come across.
You are, but
I am kind of ranting.
Great. I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too.
But look, those of you listening in, man, I'm doing this for a reason, okay? And it's so vitally important. You want to be successful. Let's stop treating each other like we're pieces of crap. Let's stop treating each other like everyone's out for the work, like everybody's got bad and negative intentions towards one another. Let's start working together. Let's start addressing the objectives of your dealership and coming up with a plan that will work for you. There is not a 30,000 foot high level approach that will work for every dealership because every dealer's market is different. How does this relate to content? Here's an example, okay? I was recently speaking with a dealer. I want to share a different example. My team was speaking with a dealer who says, you know what? I don't make gut or heart decisions when it comes to my content marketing and the things I do with my website or my digital presence. I only make data-driven decisions. So here's an example of the data decision that this dealer was making. They were comparing their Honda store in the sticks, okay, in a town of about 80,000 people in the prairies, okay, Farmville, back 40. They were comparing that store to a GM store in a town of 350,000 people. Okay. The problem is, look, if you look at the NADA data from 2014, GM has like a market penetration. The brand GM has a market penetration of nearing 20%, and Honda's is at like 7%. Not only that, okay, so the data doesn't lie. Dude, the reason people might not be buying Hondas in your region is because if I'm a farmer, if I'm working the oil rigs, which is big in this part of the country, what am I going to buy? An F-150, a GMC Sierra, or am I going to buy a Honda Ridgeline? Like, look, I'm not, if you're a Honda dealer, I'm not trying to diss you right now, but that's just kind of the fact. But it can work in reverse in other markets. Like if I'm in Toronto or New York, am I going to be buying a Prius hybrid, or am I going to be buying a like Chevy Cruze? I mean, it's very regional based. And so you need to be looking at things. This is where Google Trends comes back into the picture. You need to be looking at how topics are trending over a period of time in your market, and then compare yourself to, well, yourself. Don't compare yourself to other dealerships. They got different things going on. I know that's really difficult because the OEM's publishing all this kind of crap about who's stacking up where and this and that, but everybody's in a different market. That data doesn't even make any sense. It's irrelevant data. You need to be comparing yourself to yourself. If you did 150 leads from your website and organic, strategies this month, you need to create a campaign, a strategy with your vendor, your third party, whoever's helping you, your in-house person, to get to 160 leads next month, 170 leads. Do you see where I'm going with this? And so you use this content marketing strategy to really help you identify what will work for you in your market based on the consumer trends in your market, and surrounding the topics that people are interested in your market. Not anybody else's market. Dude, I don't care how, a Manhattan, that's a bad example. I don't care about how a Long Island dealership performs compared to the dealership in my hometown, which has 38,000 people. Yeah, but we do so often. And then we pass those limitations, I'm going to call them, onto our vendor and say, I want to be performing like that store over there. Dude, it doesn't work that way. Yep.
And there's so many different strategies and things you can put in there to, for that growth. But the one thing that's for certain is you create this content like this. I mean, that there is interest for, man, that's on audit. It's done once, bro, and keeps on rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's pretty much all I've got for you today. That's the concept. You can marry varying strategies together so that it becomes one cohesive strategy. The objective is to get you better results this month than you got last month. That's the way you need to be focusing. And you can do that by using Google Trends, which again, we're going to link to in the show notes, using keyword tools to help you validate, what you're identifying from from Google Trends, and then create an editorial calendar or a calendar of topics that you're going to create content about. And what we're going to do also in the show notes is link you up with a template that you can download for free of an editorial calendar example that we use inside of our company to help us just chart out what we're going to post, how we're going to post it, and where we're going to post it. And doing so, I'll tell you what, guys, that just takes the pressure off. It's not as overwhelming when you do it this way. You're actually working on a plan and a strategy, and you can really bring all of the facets of your online marketing together so that you're moving to dominate the web. So that's all I got for you today. Again, check us out, www.thedealerplaybook.com. And listen, we'd love to connect with you on the Twitter at Dealer Playbook. And if you're going to tweet something out from any of the shows, we'd love if you'd include the hashtag DPB. And again, you can follow myself on Twitter at Michael A. Cirillo. I'd love to connect with you there, and at Robert Wiseman. But again, check out the show, www.thedealerplaybook.com/50. And I'm
151.
Oh, 51. Oh, man.
Stole my intro.
Stole your intro, and then I screwed it up. Dude. Yeah, /51. Robert, you got anything else to say before I drop this mic?
Thanks, man. This was a good episode, man. I think you dropped some good stuff, man. I sat back and was learning a bit.
Love it.
A little bit.
Well, right. You know what? That's the best we can do. Guys, have an incredible week. We appreciate you listening into the show. Again, check us out Twitter. Check out the show notes. We'll link you up to those different assets that you can be using to dominate the web. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you later.
Take care.